In other tutorials, you learned about forming research sentences, brainstorming for keywords, and searching with Boolean operators. So make sure you have watched 2 other tutorials before this one. The links are in the description of this video. This tutorial will be a little more informal because I'll be walking you through the cycle of searching, sharing my thought process with you in real time. The cycle goes like this. First, choose search terms, then search a database. Next, analyze the results. Finally, take what you learned from your results and refine your search terms. Then the cycle begins again. Here is the research statement that we constructed. Excessive use of social media has a negative effect on the mental health of adolescents. And here are the keywords we generated from that statement. We'll be returning to this bank of words as part of the research process. And this is the search that we constructed at the end of that research statement tutorial. Let's search. But before, always ask, what is this search intended to produce? Well, we are instructing the database to only show us results that have the phrase social media. And let's go ahead and put quotes around these phrases so that we can search them as a phrase. The results must also have the phrase negative effect or negative impact. Either one of these could be present, but the results will have to have at least one of these phrases. The results must also have the phrase mental health. The results must also have either the word adolescents or the word teenagers. Each one of these is an instruction to the database, a requirement that must be met. Hit enter or select search, and now we're ready to start analyzing and interpreting the results. First, I look at the number of results. I have 19, which is not a whole lot. This won't be a problem if they're all on target. Next, I scroll down and look at the titles to see if they resemble the research statement. And for the most part, the results look a little too specific. I'm looking for mental health in general, and this one is focused on ADHD. I like social media in the general sense, but this one is focusing on cyberbullying. This first record is a pretty good example of something that's close, but not quite what we're looking for. All of our search terms can be found in the record. They're showing up in bold. But they're not really being used like how we used those terms in our research statement. And there's an added emphasis on cyberbullying. It doesn't mean you couldn't or shouldn't eventually use this article in your paper. As a matter of fact, I'm going to save the permalink real quick. Cyberbullying could be an aspect of social media, but we're not looking for something that specialized yet. Part of analyzing your results is learning to pay attention to see what is working and what is not with your search terms. I'm going to try to broaden our search terms where I can. I'm going to delete the negative effect or negative impact. This language may just be too narrow, and we might actually want articles that show social media has a positive impact on teenagers. Change one thing at a time and look at the results, just like you're doing a science experiment. Double check. Are the main ideas of the research statement still present? Yes, we just took out some connecting words. Now we have 833. Let's scroll down and see if any of these titles more closely resemble our research statement. And I think they do. If a title grabs your attention, open up the record and save a link. Don't let it get away. This one looks really good, actually. Can we broaden any more of our search terms without losing focus? I think I will need to stay with social media. Broadening it to media is just going to be too much. That could include TV, video, games, music, way too unfocused. Can we broaden mental health without losing our focus? I think we would just have to go health in general, and I think that's way too broad. However, I think we could broaden teenagers and adolescents. We could use something from our keyword bank, but I didn't notice it until I was searching, but I noticed the word children, which is not in our bank, and so I'll start broadening it there. So by adding children to this or string, we have broadened it. We're saying we'll take teenagers or children or adolescents. I know we could also add something else like young adults, but let's change one thing at a time. So I'm looking down here through the first 2 pages of results without clicking on any particular record. Do the titles sound close to my research statement? And yes, this is looking really good. So, because a lot of these results are looking good, we don't want this search to get away from us. Before you start clicking on things or navigating away from the search, we want to save this search. The best way to do this is to save a permanent link to this search. Go here, click share, and then copy and paste this link somewhere safe. Later, you can paste this into the address bar and it will run the search again with your exact search terms, although you can see it crammed it all into one box. And now we've done a full circuit of the research cycle. We searched with our keywords, analyzed our results, and found that they were too specific. So we refined our search terms by broadening where we could. First by removing the keywords negative effect and negative impact, and then by adding the search term children as an optional word for our concept of teenagers, which we can also add to the word bank. How many results should you have? Well, if you only have 10 results and they are all really good matches, then you don't really have too few. How much is too much? Now, if you're in a database like Academic Search Complete and you're getting 10,000 or more in your search results, you're going to benefit from refining those terms, but there also may be something wrong with your research sentence. Again, it'll just depend on the topic, but you may need to seek help from your professor on how to sort of narrow your focus. That's an entirely different skill that's just tough enough on its own, sometimes just picking a topic. But look what happens if I'm just searching social media by itself, no qualifiers, no other focus. Look how many results I get. It's kind of out of control. Social media is just too broad to just look for that. So in addition to refining the scope of your research, you may be able to narrow things down by using filters, which we'll discuss in another video. All of this searching and refining takes practice. It's a process of trial and error, but you have to pay attention to learn from the trial and error. Allow yourself plenty of time to research before deadlines so that you have the time to learn, and then you can build on this knowledge for every future assignment.